live it out. Let your salvation, that thing that God has done within your heart, that internal transformation, let that internal transformation be visible to those around you. Okay? This is not a works gospel. That is not what he is saying. He is saying, let that conversion experience translate over into your actions. And then with fear and trembling, verse 13. For it is God who is at work in you, both to will and to work His good pleasure. Verse 14. Do all things without grumbling and disputing. Verse 15. So that you will prove yourselves to be blameless and innocent, children of God, above reproach in the midst of a crooked and perverse generation, among whom you appear as lights in the world, holding fast the word of life, so that in the day of Christ I will have reason to glory, because I did not run in vain, nor toil in vain. But even if I am being poured out as a drink offering upon the sacrifice and service of your faith, I rejoice and share my joy with you. You too, I urge you, rejoice in the same way and share your joy with me. Now let's look at some of the surrounding verses and point back to verse 14. When he says, but even if I am being poured out as a drink offering, what is he alluding to? His impending death. Because right now he's facing trial and he does not, he hasn't had judgment passed. He doesn't know whether he's going to be executed or whether he's going to be vindicated and be freed. Even if I'm going to die because of the gospel, I rejoice and share my joy with you. You too, I urge you, rejoice in the same way. Rejoice in the same way. What same way? Doing everything without complaining and arguing. Why? 15, so that you will prove yourselves to be blameless and innocent, children of God, above reproach, where? Read what it says. Children of God, above reproach. Anybody have the NASB there? It says, in the midst of a crooked and perverse generation, among whom you appear as lights in the world. Somebody, if they've got the ESV, read me verse 15. Go ahead.
That you may be blameless and innocent, children of God, without blemish in the midst of a crooked and twisted generation, among whom you shine as lights in the world.
What does that shining in the lights of the world remind you of? Come on, you guys know some Bible. Speak.
It reminds me of the parable about put the light on the lampstand. You don't cover it with a bushel basket. Or set it up on a hill for all to see.
Right.
But you don't hide it.
So what's the illustration in the light? The light among a wicked and perverse generation. What does that show? It shows contrast. And what Paul is trying to teach us is that our reactions are an outworking of grace in our life that set us apart from a wicked and perverse generation. How does a wicked and perverse generation act? With grumbling, complaining. Let me look at these two words. What is grumbling? This comes from several sources. The word is what they call an onomatopoeic word. And what that means is, in the Greek language, it sounds like what it does. For example, to speak or to sound out in Greek is a glossolalia, I think. And it sounds like la 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 la. Okay? Well, the word here used for grumbling, it kind of has a grumbling sound. It's a muttering. It's when you were in school, and here you are on Friday thinking, man, you're good to go. And the teacher jumps up, all right, pop quiz. And what does everybody do? There it is! It's amazing. And guess what? We do that about practically everything. Now, Here's the thing with this word. This is the word that is used in Matthew chapter 20 when Jesus gives a parable that a landowner hires some people and he goes into the marketplace, basically goes to the labor pool, and he says, hey, come work in my field in the morning. And they come in and, hey, I'm going to pay you a day's wage. So these guys come in and they start working. And then later on in the day, man, I need some more help. So he goes back down to the labor pool. There's nobody there. Goes into the market. People hanging out. Hey, come in. Help me. I'll pay you a day's wage. So at the end of the day, there's two groups of workers. One that's worked all day in the heat of the day, and one that's worked for an hour. But the agreement was, I'll pay you a day's wage. The ones who had worked all day, what did they do? They grumbled. They murmured. That attitude within their heart came out. This word focuses on the intellectual. It is a reasoning. It is it's emotional, but it's different than the following word, and that is disputing. Now, where disputing focuses in is on the intellectual aspect that it's like then the picture is almost retaliatory. That disputing then is lashing out. Follow me. The first word is you're upset and you have a reaction. You recoil. And the second word is you strike and you attack. Now, what did that look like for Paul? Well, you'll see later on in his letters that he says, I'm in prison for the sake of the gospel, and there are people who are out preaching the gospel, and they're doing it not out of pure motive, they're doing it because they want to get me in trouble. They were attacking Paul by spreading the gospel, knowing that, man, if we cause this big uproar, surely they'll slay him. It was a disputing. They were stirring a pot. They were stirring things up. I'm telling you, when this happened at work this week, my initial reaction was grumbling. And what was coming next was disputing. And I'm telling you, I wanted to go into my boss's office and, look, man, I've been killing myself all week. Our shift has been one man down every day, most days two, sometimes three, and I have been covering the distance. Our numbers have not changed. A lot of that's been carried on my back, and now I get to my long weekend, and what would that have been? Disputing. Now that happens at work. Does that happen at home? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Guys, let me just let you know something. For those of you in the room that are single. When you meet someone that is married, how do you know if they have arguments and disagreements with their spouse? No, because they're married. It's just part of it. You get two people living under one roof, it is difficult. And you do and say things that upset each other. Yeah, and I'm getting the witness in the back. Testify. And it's easy to murmur, to grumble, and it's easy to have that escalate into dispute. Where else do we see it? Oh, if you think we don't see it in the church, man, you are blind. It happens here. You know how I know it happens here? Because it happens in every other church I've been in. You know why it happens in churches? Because churches are full of what? People. And people do this. Now, here's why I'm sharing this with you tonight. When we think about the whole counsel of the Word of God, what does that mean? That means the easy stuff. And Tony, that means the hard stuff. Keith said something really great yesterday as we were together with the elders. We were just talking about the Bible. Just having a wonderful time. And I wrote this down and I'll attribute it to him. He said, gentlemen, the vast majority of the Bible is really not all that hard to understand. It's just real difficult to apply. Because what it does is it forces us to change our behavior. Guys, what am I asking you to do tonight? I'm asking you to evaluate your actions. at your job, in your home,